Hello Cloud Gurus, and welcome to this lecture where we're just going to discuss the few things that you're going to need to get started with this course. So the very first thing that you're going to need is an AWS free tier account. If you don't already have one set up, then you'll need to visit this page, aws.amazon.com/free. AWS free tier basically enables you to get hands-on experience with AWS at no charge for 12 months after you sign up, and you can use any of the 18 products and services which are listed down below for free within certain usage limits. So you can use things like EC2, you can use things like Amazon S3, Lambda, Key Management Store, DynamoDB, CloudFront, etc. Now the things that we'll be using most in this course will be EC2, S3, we'll be using DynamoDB, we'll be using Amazon's Elastic Block Storage, and if we continue to scroll down, we'll also be using Elastic Load Balancer, SQS, SWF, and SNS and SES. So it's really worth getting a free tier account if you don't already have one. It will last you for 12 months and it is free. The only thing where you might incur a charge is for what you're storing in S3. So if you decide to store large files, you will get a charge for that, but only if you go over 5 gigs of storage or over 20,000 GET requests or over 2,000 PUT requests. So in this course you won't be storing anything near 5 gigs worth of data, but you might then decide to go on and use it for yourself personally. And the only other place where you could get caught out is if you buy your own domain name and host that with Route 53. We're going to do a little bit on domain names just in the S3 section of the course as to how to use a Route 53 to fail over to an S3 bucket, but you don't necessarily need to own a domain name for that part of the course. You can just watch it on my screen. It's entirely up to you. The cost, by the way, is not a lot. I think it's $1.50 per month for Route 53 to host a domain name, so it's not going to break the bank. Okay, so the other thing that you're going to need is a computer with an SSH terminal. If you're a Mac user, I'll show you in the next slide how to go in and access that. If you're a Linux user, you just need to open up your standard terminal window, and for Windows users, we'll just cover off exactly how you're going to need to access SSH. And then, as mentioned in the previous slide, a domain name is optional. It's really more useful for the Certified Solutions Architect course. In the Developer course, we're only going to have one lecture where you might want to use the domain name. So it's up to you whether or not you go out and purchase one. I probably wouldn't, but if you've got one already that you've got on your AWS account, it can be good just to play around with it yourself. So Mac users, we're just going to go through and how you access SSH. So basically you need to go to Finder, you need to find your applications section, scroll all the way down to a folder called Utilities, and then you just double click on Terminal. Okay, Mac users, I'm just going to give you a quick demo of how to open up Terminal if you've never done it before. So just go to your Finder window and click on Applications. Scroll all the way down, you'll see a folder called Utilities, and just double click it. And then you'll see a application called Terminal. If you double click that, and there you go. And you might want to elevate your privileges to root when you run this. So just type in sudo su and enter your password. And for PC users, you're going to need to download a program called PuTTY and PuTTY Keygen. Basically, PuTTY is the SSH terminal window that allows you to SSH into your Linux machines, which we'll be using as a part of this course when we provision our Linux VMs on EC2. And in order to connect, you're going to need PuTTY Keygen. PuTTY Keygen basically turns your PEM files into PPK files. Now a PEM file is your private key file, and that's generated when you provision an EC2 instance. So you'll be able to download that PEM file, and then you just need to convert it to a PPK file using PuTTY Keygen. And if you don't know how to do that, there's plenty of videos on YouTube. Just type in PuTTY Keygen PEM to PPK, and there'll be plenty of tutorials showing you how to do that. So you can get PuTTY and PuTTY Keygen from that site. Again, you can just type it into Google, but that is the official site for PuTTY and PuTTY Keygen. Okay, so that concludes this lecture. If you have any questions, please let me know, but if not, feel free to move on to the next section where we're going to talk about AWS from a 10,000 foot overview.